Hello everyone, this is part 2 about the misconception of ancient African spirituality. If you haven't seen part 1, go through my videos, you're going to see part 1 so that you'll be able to understand this part 2 much better. Okay, before I go into the topic, I just want to tell you guys, any of you that want spiritual services like tarot card reading, divination reading, Ifa or Alpha consultations, spiritual work, spell work, I offer them, including private mentorship classes of African spirituality for people that are not spiritualists and people that are priests or priestesses, priesthood classes, including practical and spiritual training. Okay, and this service is listed on my website, so if you go through my website, you're going to see all the information there. Okay, and then if you are interested in any of those services, you contact me first. You can contact me on WhatsApp or on Telegram or by email. So all my information are on my contact page. Okay, so let me just go through the question that is remaining that this guy sent on my Facebook. Okay, another question that this guy sent. He said, why in Africa spirituality they claim to be worshiping the right gods, who always demand for blood sacrifice and promise her people good future. Some even demand for human sacrifices. Okay. I just want to tell you that, one, the gods, the African gods and goddesses never, ever promise anyone good future. It is the spiritualist that does that when they want to collect money from their clients. Okay? It's the spiritualists, the ones that are dubious. Okay, the good one will never come and be promising you that if I do this for you, you're going to become rich, you're going to become that. No, they don't promise that. They do the work for you that they have to do for you, you know, but they will never promise you. In fact, we don't even promise you when the spirits are going to answer your prayers. We do the work and the spirits are going to decide. And the good spiritualists can never tell you that if I do this work for you, that you're going to become rich. Especially when you don't have anything doing. So no, it is not the gods or goddesses that promise people, you know. It is the individual that is offering the services. Our gods and goddesses never does that. It's pastor that does that. They will give you some declaration, receive this, you know, you're going to get car, you're going to become rich, and yet you don't have a job. This is what makes people to go and put hand in the bad thing. So this is not from the gods. This thing that you're talking about, you know, is from the individual, and all spiritualists are not the same. You find good one, you find the ones that are greedy for money as well. So it's you that have to be watchful, check who you're going to. Okay, and another one, he said that our gods demand for human sacrifice. No, in African spirituality, we don't use human for sacrifice. I don't know where you're getting that from. If you hear that someone is using a human being for sacrifices, know that they are not practicing the ancient African spirituality. They have their own practice that they're practicing. I just want to tell you that in African spirituality, what they use for sacrifice are animal. Okay? They don't use human. If you see someone that is using human for sacrifices, maybe they have some evil practices that they're using. For example, people that practice evil witches and witchcraft, those ones that does evil things. The way they operate in their coven, that is how they are going to operate in manifesting rituals for anyone that goes to them. Because in their coven they drink blood, they unalive people, they use human being for sacrifice. So you cannot expect them to be doing spiritual work without demanding something that they are used to. So these evil witchcraft covens and cults, secret cult, whatever they call it, these are organized religion, organized practices. This is not the general African spirituality. It's like when you go to church, you see a lot of churches, there are some pastors that are doing evil. Even in the compound that they have their church, they are buried human beings there. They've done a lot of sacrifices. Are you going to say all these pastors are the same with other ones? Because there are good ones and there are bad ones. So you cannot generalize everyone. In my own culture, we don't use human being for sacrifice. It's forbidden. If you even ask your spirit, those of you that are practicing African spirituality, ask them, is it good that someone use human being for sacrifice? They will tell you no. They will tell you that it's forbidden to use human being. So, but in every practice, you find good ones and bad ones, okay? You find good people. In every country, there are good people and bad people. So that doesn't mean that everyone in the country is bad. So we don't use human being for sacrifices. You might find some people that are doing it secretly and hiding it, but that is not African spirituality. Yeah. So another question that you asked, you said, African ancestor doesn't teach us to be creative, innovative. Instead, they make their worshippers to become magicians. Finish. Okay. I think you're talking from your own experience, because obviously, African ancestors are not lazy people. African ancestors, they are hardworking. In the ancient time, and from the ones I have observed from my family, even priests and priestesses, they are hardworking. Some of them are farmers. Some of them have different businesses they are doing. They do not depend on that spiritual work, because in the village, when I was growing up, every family has their own gods. They have their own shrine, and they are not doing spiritual work for money. It's to protect their family, to guide their own home, to improve their families. So they always have something that they are doing. So the gods does not forbid someone from to be creative, to do other work, okay? But if you are a priest or a priestess that is choosing, if you want to do other work without answering your call, they will stop it for you. There will be a time you will progress. After a while, they'll begin to shut it down till you answer the call. Once you answer the call, you can do other profession, as long as it's not something that is going to affect your spiritual, your call, your spiritual work. So you have to find a work that is compatible with your work, your spiritual work, and ask your spirit before you take another profession. So our ancestors are not lazy. Being a spiritual person does not stop you from having other profession. It's advisable to have other profession, especially in this modern time that things are very expensive. Being a spiritual does not mean that every day you might have clients. Sometimes you might even be tired. You might need to, distress yourself to do something else. So no. And because we are spiritualists does not mean that we are not creative. We don't have something doing. A lot of us have things that we are doing. That's why we don't come online very often. That's why you see me making video so late in the night, because we have something that we are doing. Doesn't mean we are not creative. We have other things that we are doing, okay? Some of us, we have degrees, masters, we have businesses, other type of businesses that we are doing. So if it's maybe in your culture or from where you come from that you're seeing people just practicing African spirituality and they are not doing something, then it's from your own ancestors. So even from where I come from, my grandparents, my parents, even though they practice African spirituality, the ones that are priests and priestesses, they were hardworking. My uncle was a priest and he was still having business. He had a construction company and he was a priest. My grandfather that was a priest, he was a farmer and he was doing very well. And then my parents, they practice African spiritualists. They have business, a contractor doing different business. Some of them traveling different countries. So anyone who is practicing African spirituality and does not want to do other things is their decision. Because African spirituality as a priest or priestess is a job. This is why you call spiritual work, spare work. It is a work and it's stressful. So maybe if you have a lot of work, spiritual work, you don't need to do other things. You focus on your spiritual work because it's stressful. So yeah. And you're saying that our ancestors teach us to become magicians. Our ancestor does not teach everyone to be magician or to be a spiritualist. Actually, before you become a spiritualist, you have to be chosen by the gods. And it's only those people that they try to train. But they will teach you basic principle of African spirituality. Like when you go in the church, can you tell the pastors not to teach their children to be Christ-like or their members? But when it comes to African spirituality, people find it strange that maybe we want to teach our children, our people around us about African spirituality. But in your church, you want your people to be like Christ, like you put your children in the Sunday school or in the school. And it's not a problem. So for us,